Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Who would have guessed that Germany, the manufacturing powerhouse and the most important economy in Europe, would prove to be the EU's weakest link? Well, that's exactly the case, and that's exactly what the United States is relying upon in order to break open the EU. Germany cannot survive without Russian oil and gas, period. The German public is going to suffer the brunt of energy shortages as the German government channels all available energy to industry, but eventually, even manufacturing is going to have to slow down. Germany going along with American-dictated sanctions against Russia is, in a word, suicidal. The U.S. is pushing Germany towards an ultimatum, at which point they have to decide, are we going to stand with the EU, or are we going to put our country first? And ultimately, I think Germany is going to have to choose the latter. Eventually, Germany is going to have to break with the EU, break with the sanctions, and that's going to make Germany the new Russia. There will be sanctions against Germany and anti-German propaganda, just as there is now against Russia. The collective West, as we have known it for the last century, is collapsing. And look, European nations have always despised each other, and they always will. Even the organization of the European Union could not cure them of this mutual animosity. Each country in the EU has always just used the infrastructure of the EU to try to gain advantage over other countries. The continent of Europe will descend, perhaps rapidly, into what it has always been, a meat grinder of rivalry and competition. Now, this should be important to us as Muslims because we have gotten accustomed to being appeasing and obsequious to the West for a very long time. We have accepted their values, their standards, their hypocritical moralizing, their leadership, almost without any significant opposition. We don't have to do that anymore. And even with regards to the United States, yes, it's true, no one appointed them to be the world's policeman. But as long as they were acting as the world's policeman, they guaranteed the security of global trade, and that benefited everybody. And because it benefited us, we had to listen to them. We don't have to listen anymore. Look, as Muslims, we also live on this earth. We have our own standards, we have our own values, we have our own judgment, we have our own morals. And we don't have to submit that to the West for their approval. We are 2 billion people strong and growing. And since most of the world is in demographic decline, our ratio of the global population will just get bigger and bigger and bigger over time. We can begin standing up for what we believe in and start exerting our will on the international stage. We're not oppressors, we're not tyrants, we're not unjust. The history of Muslim authority is nowhere near as brutal, as savage, as corrupt, as exploitative as the history of Western authority in the world. No one has anything to fear from Muslim power. We are bound by religious commitment to be fair, to be tolerant, and to be magnanimous when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bestows us with authority. And we are on the cusp now of an era in which that is going to come to pass. Jazakumullahu khairan wa assalamu alaikum.